Let's start with something we all know but rarely think about. Earwax. It's natural. It's protective. It keeps out dust, bacteria, and even insects. But when it builds up too much, it can cause pressure, pain, ringing, and even hearing loss. Today, we have specialized tools to remove it safely. But thousands of years ago, people had to get creative. Very creative in ancient Babylon. People believed blocked ears were caused by evil winds that blew bad spirits into the body. The cure, a mixture of sheep, fat, and rose oil, warmed and funneled into the ear using hollow reeds. The warmth would soften the wax, while the scent of rose was believed to chase away shadow spirits. Then there's the Egyptians. They were masters of natural medicine, and their go-to solution for thick ear wax, goose fat. They'd mix it with honey, then warm it gently in clay bowls. Just a few drops into the ear, followed by long cotton threads soaked in palm oil. This wasn't just about cleaning. It was a ritual believed to restore balance and quiet the mind in ancient India. Ayurvedic texts described using clarified butter, known as ghee, infused with crushed herbs like tulsi and neem. The ear was considered a sacred channel, a gateway to the nervous system. So clearing wax wasn't just a medical task. It was spiritual hygiene. The ghee would be poured while the patient meditated, not just to ease pain, but to calm the entire body. Now, let's travel to ancient Greece. Hippocrates, himself the so-called father of modern medicine, wrote about hard wax blockages that could cause what he called brain fever. His recommendation: warm salt water and crushed onion extract dropped into the ear and left to sit for several hours. Then a gentle rinse using a hollowed out reed and mild suction. And yes, they practiced suction as air pumps, pressurized with breath or hand compression. Primitive. Yes, but surprisingly effective. Of course, not all remedies were so gentle in medieval Europe. Some people believed that earwax was a poison that needed to be drawn out violently. One common remedy involved placing a burning candle beside the ear, with a hollow tube between them. The rising heat was believed to suck out the wax. This became the origin of what some now call ear candling, a practice still used today, despite being widely debated. But back then, it wasn't a spa treatment. It was desperate medicine. And then there were remedies that were just strange in some small villages of Eastern Europe. Midwives would collect mother's milk and drip it into the ears of children with wax buildup. The belief that breast milk, full of natural enzymes and warmth, could dissolve wax and restore hearing to the innocent. In other regions, fermented barley water was poured into the ear, left to bubble and break down the blockage like acid. Risky. Definitely. But they were working with what they had. No doctors, no sterile tools, just instinct, herbs, and centuries of tradition. These remedies sound wild to us now, but remember, most of them were based on observation. People noticed that warm oils softened wax, that herbs reduced swelling, that certain liquids made the ear feel clearer after use. They didn't have microscopes, but they listened to the body, and often they got results. Even today, we use warm saline solutions, oil drops, and suction, just with better tools and safer protocols. It makes you wonder, maybe their remedies weren't so weird after all. Asterisk. Let's keep going. Because the deeper we look into the past, the more surprising and sometimes terrifying the remedies become. In 16th century England, a common cure for wax blockage was this. Take a small cup of urine, preferably your own, warm it slightly, and drip it into the ear. Physicians believed urine had cleansing vapors, and they weren't completely off base. It contains urea, a compound that can dissolve keratin and soften tough tissue. Still, pouring pee into your ear isn't something your doctor would recommend today. And yet, it was a trusted household remedy for centuries. In some remote Scottish islands, people burned dried seaweed and held the smoking end near the ear canal. The idea: let the heat and minerals in the vapor melt the wax, or maybe scare it out. Elsewhere, it got even stranger. In medieval Persia, some physicians believed the sound of music could shake loose thick earwax. They'd place metal bowls near a patient's head and strike them rhythmically while chanting softly. Not as wild as it sounds. Sound vibration can, in fact, influence fluid movement. Meanwhile, German herbalists swore by something called ox gall, bile taken from the stomach of cows. They'd mix it with rose water and apply it with a quill to the ear canal. Gall acids, they believed, would dissolve any hardened blockage. And in 18th century rural America, if your ear was blocked and no herbs were handy, you might hear this advice. Take a drop of bacon grease, warm it, pour it in the ear, then lie very still and let it dream the wax out. As odd as that sounds, the fat in bacon grease did help soften thick wax, though the risk of infection was high. Fast forward to today. We now know that the ear canal has a natural self-cleaning system. The skin inside your ear grows outward in a spiral, pushing wax toward the opening. That's why, in most cases, earwax takes care of itself. But sometimes, that system fails. Wax builds up, hardens, and suddenly everything sounds muffled. like living underwater. That's where cleaning becomes necessary. And despite all our tools and knowledge, you'll still find people using warmed oils, garlic drops, or onion compresses. Because many old remedies have stood the test of time, science now confirms what ancient people only suspected. Warm oils really do loosen wax. Garlic has antibacterial properties. Honey fights inflammation. Steam softens wax for easier removal. Vibration, like humming or certain frequencies, can help shift wax outward. So, in a way, those old healers weren't just guessing. They were observing, testing, and refining with what they had. Sure, not every remedy was wise. Pouring melted lard or insect broth into your ears probably did more harm than good. But the instinct to listen, to clear, to care, that's universal. And here's something else to think about. Thick wax isn't always a problem. In some indigenous cultures, it's considered a sign of good health. A waxy barrier that keeps out bad energy, not just bacteria. Some tribes even believed dreams could be trapped in the ear, and wax was the residue of unspoken stories. That belief may not be scientific, but it's kind of beautiful, isn't it? Asterisk. Let's wrap this up with the strangest remedy of them all. In parts of rural Russia, when wax grew too thick, some healers turned to bread. That's right. They would bake a small piece of rye bread until warm, then press it lightly, soaked in salt water against the patient's ear. Not in it, just over it. Held in place for hours, the heat, they said, would soften the wax. The salt would draw out impurities, and the bread, it served as a symbol of life, bringing healing from the harvest back to the body. Strange, yes, but maybe not that different from a hot compress today. Or consider this, in ancient Chinese medicine, wax blockages were sometimes treated by chewing sugarcane, not because it cleaned the ear, but because the motion of the jaw was thought to massage the ear canal and push wax naturally outward. Modern science agrees. Jaw movement does play a role in how wax migrates. So once again, the old ways weren't always so far off. Even in Victorian England, there were earwax remedies sold at apothecaries made from things like whale oil, almond paste, or musk from deer glands. The goal: break down hard wax and mask the smell, because, yes, sometimes neglected wax does carry odor. Something you'll never notice in normal hygiene, but in extreme buildup. It's real, and in cultures where smell was seen as a sign of purity or decay, this mattered deeply. All of this points to a bigger truth. For centuries, protect hearing, to ease pain, to ensure nothing unwanted, whether dirt, disease, dark energy, entered that delicate space inside the head. Some methods were brilliant, some were laughable, some were even dangerous, but they all came from the same place: care, a deep, instinctive understanding that the ear is a vital portal, not just for hearing, but for balance, well-being, and peace of mind. And as strange as some of these ancient remedies may sound, they remind us of something we often forget: that healing isn't always about technology. Sometimes it's about attention, gentleness, slowness, the simple act of sitting beside someone, warming a little oil, and whispering, "I'll help you hear again." There's something timeless about that. So now, as we finish this cleaning session, with wax gently cleared and space restored, take a moment, breathe, and be thankful for something as ordinary, yet magical as the ability to hear, to listen, to tune into the world around you, and to be cared for, even if just by a stranger's hands in a video telling you strange stories as your mind drifts deeper into calm. Thank you for spending this time here. Thank you for letting me guide you through the weird world of old remedies. And thank you for listening. Sleep well, or carry this quiet with you into the rest of your day. You've heard enough now. Let silence take over.